What's going on, everybody? Happy Football Sunday. It is the Gunzpicks and Coach Rick here today. Player Performance Sunday Football. And I am elated. I have a big card here today. And, of course, had a great college football day. Coach Rick is joining me today. How's it going, my man, on this beautiful Sunday?
Wonderful. Would have been a little better if Josh Heupel would have got his head out of his ass and kicked the extra point. But I'm not going to go into that. It's actually kind of a dreary day here outside of Detroit, which I guess that's going to affect one of the games that we're going to talk about pretty soon. Cleveland, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be one of those unique days. A lot of low totals. We'll be talking about everything in a second. But we don't waste any time. So without further ado, let's get into the card. Let's start with the first game that's going to be on the board. We got the New Orleans Saints going on the road versus the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Yes, coming off that big win on Monday Night Football. Very weird, unique game there for it down in Landover, Maryland. But Chicago pulled out the victory. Now we got a game here. Could be a letdown spot here going against the Saints. Saints, of course, going off that loss versus my New England Patriots. But not the greatest road team in the world. But I'll start with you, Coach Rick. Do you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Chicago with the win over the Commanders. I think that maybe the bubble bursts here. I think there was a little bit of overvalue on the Bears. I think the line opened at, I think it was -7.5, down to -4, -4.5 at some books. I think this is a spot where the Saints can come in and surprise somebody. Maybe not get the win, but I think they can get the cover here. On short rest with Caleb Williams at quarterback, the Bears are 0-4 straight up. They only scored an average of 15 points a game in those games, which is, that kind of surprises me. The other thing that surprised me is the Saints have actually, I mean, these two teams don't play each other that often, but the Saints have beaten the Bears 8 times in a row. And obviously that's going to go back a ways, but for me, I think it's the Saints plus the points, and there's an interesting angle in this game. And if you're into live betting, check this out. Take a look at the first half and see if you can maybe work something in the second half, because the Saints are actually 5-1 against the second half spread this year. So again, you might want to look at that if you're watching that game.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at this game. I couldn't find an angle as far as the side, as far as the total, because there's kind of strong weight trends with the Chicago Bears, too. I mean, this is the first time this season the Chicago Bears have been a favorite. They are at home going against the Saints. 3-1 ATS in their last 4 is the favorite. They are coming off a big highs of high win on short rest. Not the best position to be taking the Bears, like Coach alluded to. Pass-oriented team here for the Chicago Bears, 61.7% pass completion rate. And then you got a New Orleans team that is really terrible at defending the pass. They give up 69.5% pass completion rate to opponents. Not the great road. Like I said, this New Orleans team better at home than they are on the road. I think they have a -22 point differential on the road this season, but small sample size as far as the road games go. It just maybe feels like it is a bad spot for the Bears. However, New Orleans on the road really hasn't really shown anything to me. I had to pass on this game completely. This definitely won't be on my card today. Let's go into the next game. Let's talk about the game of the week. And then Miami going against the Cleveland Browns. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. There we go.
No.
This is the toilet bowl of all toilet bowl games. You have a 1-5 team going against a 1-5 team. Anomalies there with the Cleveland Browns, of course, dealing with the rookie growth of the quarterback. And, of course, I don't know when, how, way, shape, or form. Are they going to fire McDaniels? It's week to week with this Miami Dolphins team. But I'll start with you, Coach Rick. They're playing in Cleveland. What are your thoughts in this game?
Oh, God. Number one, hard pass. Like, just don't. So here's number one. All right. So I live outside of Detroit. Rained all night. It's a little bit windy here in Cleveland. Supposedly, it's going to be raining at game time, and they're going to have winds in the 20 to 25 mile an hour range. So the game total opened at a fairly low 43.5. It's now 34.5
Yeah.
game total. So, at some point, maybe you were lucky enough to, snag that while it was going down. But yeah, the big reason for me that I don't like any of this, I don't want any part of it at all, is because you have, number one, two midgets that play quarterback. And then not only are they midgets, but they are both left-handed. So out. Forget it. I will mention this, though, too, not like he's better at home than on the road. So, you could, you look at that angle. But, on the other end, the Browns typically don't do well after they've played the Steelers, which that was their last game, and they got stomped by Pittsburgh. So, like I said, I don't have an angle here at all, and I would stay away from it. I'll give you a free prop, though. It was actually Luke put up a free prop on his Why Lose Props, and it's Dylan Gabriel, the Browns QB, under his passing yards total. I believe it's 171.5. But today's going to be tough to do anything offensively. It's going to be really hard to throw the ball when it's wet and you have all those high winds. So Dylan Gabriel under his passing yards total.
Yeah, I think you basically kind of like why I like the total in this game more than I like the side. I mean, how many times are you going to see the Cleveland Browns as a favorite? By the way, there's going to be games that we're going to be talking about today where teams are a favorite where they haven't been a favorite year. So it's going to be kind of interesting. This one, Cleveland, 1-5 straight up. You have Miami, this 1-5 straight up. Miami just terrible on both sides of the ball. 289 yards of total offense per game, 69.6% pass completion rate. So I guess that's positive. But I don't know if if Tua is going to be able to be passing the ball here today with that low total and the weather that Coach talked about. They also allow 389 yards of total offense to their opponents. Cleveland definitely has a good defense. We know that. But their success has been mostly at home. If you're taking a side, I would say it's probably lean Cleveland, because when Cleveland's a favorite last 2 years, eight times they've been a favorite in the last 2 years, 6-2 ATS in those positions. Miami's also got a minus 12-point differential on the road this year, and they're 1-2 ATS in those spots. The only cover, I think, was by a point when they were a double-digit dog against Buffalo. So I do think I lean towards the Cleveland side. I do like the props on this one. Low props as far as the receiving and the passing. I think that's what you have to look at. And maybe a little bit on the overs on the running back. I'm seeing H-Town Legend put in Judkins over 90 rushing yards. That's kind of like where you need to be going with this game. It's going to be very in the trenches. Got to give the ball to the running back. Maybe attempts is probably the overs that you want to look at. That's something to go for. I like the low total. I lean Cleveland, and I think we go with the low passing props here for both teams. Next game on the board, we're going to my New England Patriots. Going on the road to face Tennessee Titans. Now we're talking about a game because this has kind of got that little revenge angle. I know everybody wants to fade the Patriots, and I understand there's going to be times we're going to do this, but now they're a favorite on the road against that terrible Tennessee Titans team. Mind you, they were a +7 dog to this team last season, and they lost the game, very close one. But different situation for both teams. Vrabel has a little bit of revisionist history with the Tennessee Titans last time I checked, but I'll pass it to you, Coach. What do you think about this game?
Well, I really don't like it, but you mentioned the Vrabel angle, and I get that. I'll bring up this angle too. Tennessee just fired another one. Brian Callahan, peace out, he's done. Teams that fire their coach, typically, you'll have them rally a little bit. Is this a spot where maybe Tennessee can cover the number? I don't like that. I'm just bringing that up, that teams do tend to play a little harder, a little better. They come together, whatever it is, after a coach gets fired. I'll give you the best angle in this game, which, you possibly no one ever thought of, and that's going back to my guy, Joey Sly. And if you don't know Joey Sly is the kicker for the Titans, which a couple weeks ago we played him, and he cashed. And I like it again. I know it's a low total game, but Tennessee is not that great in the red zone. They don't convert a lot of touchdowns. However, they kick a lot of field goals. They're actually second in the NFL in field goal attempts. Sly's attempted 18 field goals. He is 4 out of 5 games this season. He's kicked at least 2. Today, you get his over 1.5 field goals actually at plus money. I got it at plus 125. I'll take that all day. I like that over his points. You can get his points at 5.5, but that suggests that Tennessee probably isn't going to score much. And if they do, like I said, it's probably on field goals. I like Joey Sly over 1.5 field goals in this one.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick at all. I kind of lean towards the Patriots side, even though it kind of feels a little bit pseudo public. I just don't trust this Tennessee Titans team. They're not good in any way, shape, or form, especially in their home games. Now, they've only played, this is their 3rd home game of the season, but they have a minus 17-point differential at home. And then the revisionist history, there's a little bit of a revenge angle if you want to look at revenge. I don't know if revenge is really hit in the NFL like they do in college football, but there is a revenge here. They did lose 20-17 last year. They were 3-point dogs on the road. Total was 38 in that game. Now you're seeing this Patriots team as a 7-point favorite. So there is a line functionality that kind of works in this one. But yeah, I haven't seen anything from Tennessee that would be like, okay, time to fade the public and take Tennessee. That is not the way I would do this. I lean towards the Patriots, maybe Patriots first half or something like that. If you're a little bit scared that they could backdoor cover and it could be a closer game than what is expected. But this Patriots team, I think, is really on the up and up, and they're going to continue to climb going through the season. Maybe it's the bias from the New England fan in me, but I do see I see Drake May getting a little bit wide open. McDaniels is starting to let him loose and throw the ball down the field. Didn't do that in the first 3 or 4 games of the season. Maybe some over passing props we could be going with on Drake May. But I really lean towards the Patriots side just from a side perspective. No take on the total and maybe some props there with Drake May. Next game on the board, we're going to a little bit of divisional matchup here with the Las Vegas Raiders going against the Kansas City Chiefs. And Chiefs actually, they're starting to get better. Rashee Rice coming back. They're getting healthy, and this team is just kind of ramping up now. Going against a divisional opponent, they're a double-digit favorite. This is a game, honestly, from my perspective, I have nothing on. Coach, what do you think about that?
So when the Raiders are playing, the first thing I do is I check to see what the price is on Geno throwing a pick, because he leads the NFL in picks. And, of course, he's so bad that we're priced out of it. It's minus 185 or above. And, so that's how bad the Raiders and Geno Smith are right now. Playing terribly, sorry, but I don't like the, double-digit spread. With Rice back, I think the Kansas City offense really opens up. They haven't been able to run the football. I think they're going to be able to now. Do I want to take the Chiefs minus 13? Probably not. So it's probably a first half, which the Chiefs came out last game, smoked in the first half. I think the last 2, they've covered the first half spread. So you can get Kansas City minus 6.5 in the first half. That's one angle. The other angle, always, when you have the Chiefs, you got to look at the second half. Steve Spagnuolo, defensive coordinator, I've talked about it before. The guy's a genius, master. Since 2023, second half unders in Chiefs games, 32 and 15 to the under. So that's worth a look. And then, like I said, the first half spread.
Yeah, I don't hate that take at all. I think when you look at the Dallas, the Las Vegas Raiders, their rush defense isn't too bad. I think there's only one team that has actually gotten over 100 rushing yards against them, and that was Washington Commanders on the road. Might be looking at some under props on this one, knowing that the wide receiver corps is going to be, almost back to 100%, getting Rashee Rice back into the lineup. Passing props overs or attempts there for Mahomes, and maybe rushing yards unders, knowing you're going against a good Las Vegas Raiders rush defense. And it's funny that you mentioned Geno Smith. 7-10
Touchdown
touchdown
to,
to INT
yep,
ratio this year.
yep. Bad.
Absolutely terrible. I mean, personally, I don't have anything on this game, but maybe I can get to the prop market and maybe take some rush unders there with the Chiefs. Let's go to another game on the board, a very good game, I would say. We have the Philadelphia Eagles going on the road to face this Vikings team, a Vikings team that is returning back from Europe, playing in Dublin, playing in London. Now they are back in the States, and they're going against kind of a hungry Philly team that I don't know what's up with this Philly team. They just don't look great this year. And I think they're off back-to-back losses. You just don't see that often here with this team that won the Super Bowl last year. So I'll start with you, Coach. What are your thoughts here with the Philadelphia Eagles going against the Minnesota Vikings?
Here's my biggest thought is this. Kevin Patullo is the offensive coordinator for Philly. Like he has to dial up Saquon Barkley. Like I mean, I'm sure he's hearing it. He has to be. He just doesn't get enough touches. Like this is one of the best players in the league, and he's 6, 7, 10 carries. Like he needs to touch the ball a lot. That said, man, I can't find a way to get on either side here. Minnesota under McConnell coming off a bye or extended rest. He's 5-7-1 ATS. That doesn't impress me. And then you have teams. Philly played on Thursday night last week, so they've had some extended rest. When you have two teams coming off extended rest, for some reason, they just don't pour it on. The under is cashes since 2018. The under cashes about 61% of the time in games like this. And the total moved from 44.5 down a point, 43.5. It makes me want to lean under. That's one angle. The thing I think I like the best is this. It's Minnesota's defense will blitz a ton. Brian Flores loves to bring heat and pressure, and I think he'll do that again today. He'll throw in some run blitzes too to try and counter the Philly run game. But when he blitzes Hurts, I think that's going to force him to run and scramble a few times. And Hurts has the athletic ability to run around and beat you with his legs. I think I like his rushing yards over. I believe it's 34.5. Just because I think Minnesota will blitz him and force him to get out of the pocket.
Yeah, interesting take. I'm kind of leaning towards the Minnesota side here today. There's nothing that gives me confidence that this Philly team even has it in them. I mean, they can't even rush the ball, which is weird when you have Saquon Barkley. And it has a lot to do with their offensive line. Their offensive line has actually given up a 10.5% sack rate this season. And the rushing is dropped. It's 3.5 yards per carry. So I don't know what's happened with this Philly team that I thought was one of the strongest rush offenses and strongest offensive lines in the National Football League last year. But Minnesota kind of, coming off that bye, coming back rested. Carson Wentz looks like he's going to be the starter here. And since he's been the starter, the passing has gotten better. 65.9% pass completion rate, 214 passing yards per game since he's been there. He put up 302, 252 over across the pond in those two games. And then and I see a lot of people saying they want to take the Barkley props. I don't hate it because you're going against a Minnesota defense that really kind of gives up a little bit on the rush, 132, giving up to opponents 4.5 yards per carry. If there is a time to be taking Barkley rush props, it probably is now because, I mean, the stock is dropped on him, but you're going against a bad rush defense. I do lean towards the over, though. I think Minnesota 4-1 to the over this season. This is the second highest total that they've seen all year. Philly on the same boat, 2-1 to the over in their road games. And Minnesota, it has a pass rush too that can get to the quarterback, 9.4% sack rate. So maybe look at that's why I'm kind of leaning towards the Minnesota side on this one because their offensive line does give up a lot of sacks. You can get a couple hurries on them, and you've got a good pass rush. They do get a little bit dinged up in the run game. But I do lean towards the Minnesota side here as a dog at home. Coming off the bye, there's just another bad spot here for Philly. And also, keep in mind, revenge angle. for Philly. Look ahead. Got to play the Giants next week, and which was the pseudo sandwich. Giants, Minnesota, Giants again. I don't know who made that schedule, but that is insane.
You got Wentz, the Wentz angle too. Wentz in
that's
Philly.
true too.
You got that angle. Yeah.
There's history there. All right, let's talk about another game of the year here with the Carolina Panthers going on the road to face the New York Jets. Oh, the Jets are ugly. They put up 80 yards of total offense across the pond against Denver last week. Minus 10 passing yards. I don't know how you can do that. Throw the ball backwards. I don't know. Maybe it's time to bench Justin Fields. But I digress. Carolina, a favorite for maybe the second time in 2 years, something like that. Crazy anomalies that we have here on week 7. But I'll start with you, Coach. We got a big one here, Carolina.
Yeah. So you mentioned the negative pass yards. If you don't know, in the NFL, sack yardage actually counts against pass yards.
Yeah.
So for anybody in the chat that cares, at the college level, the sack yards go against the quarterback's rushing yards total. Just so you know. Trying to feed you solid information. This game is a hard pass, similar to Miami and Cleveland. However, if you're going to bet this game, honestly, I think it's a Jet spot. And it's hard to say, like, oh, dude, I'm going to back the Jets. But if you're going to back anybody, you have to. So Carolina has actually they have not won a game as a favorite since 2021.
Yep.
That's 4 years. Like, come on. And they've only been favored 7-8 times, but still, like, how are you going to get behind that? The other thing's this, and this is like a weird stat. Teams that start a season 0-6, which we've had a few since 2020. Teams that start season 0-6 in their very next game, they're 11-4 against the spread.
Yep.
Odd, right? So I don't know how they get there, but for me, it's Jets or nothing. I'm not officially on it, but if you're going to do it, it's Jets or nothing.
I'm with you. This is the grossest of all grossest picks. You just gotta close your eyes, hold your nose, and hit. Yep. I'm taking the Jets today. And you mentioned that stat. I've known about this stat for years. When I always pay attention to those teams that hit to that 0-5. Once they hit to that and I haven't won a game, keep taking them until they win a game. They cover spreads. They're competitive. These are professional athletes here, folks. They want to win football games. They don't want to lose every single game. So they are going to compete today. And you're going against Carolina kind of in this highs of highs. They're playing very good football. They're coming off that big win at home versus Dallas. Now you got to go travel in what could be the flattest of all flattest spots to go play in New Jersey of all places. In Jersey. But I mean, you mentioned it. Carolina sucks as a favorite. First time this season they've been a favorite. I think if you go back, I found 12 instances. The last 12 times date back to 2021, like Coach mentioned, 2-10 ATS in those positions. You want to take Carolina as a dog, not as a favorite. This is gross. Take the Jets today, guys, in the swamp. And thank you later. All right, let's go to the next game on the board. Actually, this is a good game. Let's be serious about this one. The Colts are going on the road to go face the Chargers. I think I have a problem. I need to go to a meeting. I am addicted to betting the Chargers. I can't stop doing it. The books keep baiting me to do it, and I think I might be doing it again here, going against this Indianapolis team that has just been playing very good football. However, I think their success is more on the home than on the road. But I'll start with you, Coach. What do you think about this game? Colts versus.
Well, you mentioned the fact they played at home, but it's also, I think, the teams they played. You got to win over Miami. Okay, you got to win over the Titans. Yeah, you got to win over the Raiders. We just talked about how awful they are. And last week, kind of a little battle with Arizona. Their most impressive win was against Denver. That was at home, and they won that game on the last-second field goal. But props. I mean, they're 5-1. They're 5-1 for a reason. Daniel Jones is playing well. He's 4-0 as a favorite. The only, they were a dog to Denver at home, and they won that game. So 1-1 ATS for Daniel Jones. Like you said, how do you not bet the Chargers? I mean, it's hard not to. Jim Harbaugh in his NFL career has never lost 4 games in a row against the spread. At home, I just think he dials up something to, kind of play with Daniel Jones. I don't know if that's going to be a lot of pressure because Daniel Jones actually is pretty good against pressure. For me, I think the better angle, it might be the total. This is another odd stat that I've mentioned before on this show. You got 2 dome teams that play. For some reason, the under is like cashes a lot. Since the beginning of last year, you have 2 dome teams play each other. The under cashes almost 70% of the time. So I'm going to lean on the under, and I like the Chargers in this one.
Yeah, I think I lean towards the under on this one too. But the Chargers, they're just. I think this is just the perfect spot to fade the Colts. The Colts have just been running red hot. You actually look at their defense, though. If you kind of break this team down, they're kind of vulnerable in the passing game. I mean, they're giving up 233 passing yards per game, 65.9% pass completion rate to opponents, and I think that's kind of why you're seeing a lot of overs in these Indianapolis games because, one, they can score themselves and they give up points on the other end. But Indianapolis has looked great, but their success, like I said earlier, is mostly home, not road. And then you have this Charger team that is 11-6-1 ATS as a favorite, 5-2 ATS as a home favorite. I mean, ugly road win last week. Kind of had the cover for, I would say, 95% of the game on the road going against Miami, and they just kind of let the foot off the gas pedal. But I don't think that's going to happen here. In some way, shape, or form, I would say I think the spread's low enough, you can just take them on the money line. You're just picking a winner. But I think this is a Charger spot all day long. And yes, like Coach said, lean towards the under as well. Let's get to another good game in the division in the NFC East. Of course, Bernsey is watching intensively at this one for his Giants in the division. But this is Washington versus Dallas here. This is a Washington team that, yes, short week, coming off that ugly loss. Something's wrong with Jaden Daniels. I don't know what it is. He used to not be able to fumble the ball. Now he's fumbling. Maybe the ball was a little bit wet, but I digress. 3-3 on the year, going against a 3-2-1 team in Dallas off that bad loss versus the Carolina Panthers last week. High total here, sitting at like 54.5 right now. But I'll start with you, Coach. What do you think about this game?
Points. You mentioned the total. Opened at 48.5. Now you're seeing 54.5. Man, crazy. The line actually flipped too, so I believe Dallas is now favored -1.5. I think, and rightfully so, I think it's Cowboys spot. Dak has never lost to Washington at home, 6-0 straight up, covered 5 of those. I think he's 10-3 against the spread against Washington in his career. They get CeeDee Lamb back. God, they're averaging almost 30 points a game. What's not to like about that? George Pickens also playing well. I'm not a Pickens fan because he was awful in Pittsburgh, but he has scored a touchdown in 5 straight games. So you might want to take a look at that for him for an anytime touchdown. For me, I think the best angle in this game, like if you like the over, one is to take the Cowboys team total, which I've taken almost every week. Their team total, you can get over 27.5. They've hit that 4 or 5 times this year. But the other really awesome look, which I've mentioned, on our college football show, we played it yesterday. I played it yesterday. Georgia and Ole Miss, both teams to go over 25 plus. They've easily cashed that. Today, I like both these teams to do the same. Both teams over 25. You get that both teams to score 25 plus. DraftKings, like I said before, you go to DraftKings game props, and you'll find this. Both teams to score a certain amount of points. 25 plus, sitting now at plus money. If you really like that over, you can always play the over, but this might be a way to capitalize on both teams scoring today.
Yeah, I think this is points, 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 points. If you see in a high total here, there's a reason for it, and I think it's because these teams love to pass the ball, and both teams can't defend the pass. You have Dallas's passing. He puts up 200. Dak put up 270 passing yards per game, 71.4% pass completion rate. So if you're going to play this thing from a prop perspective, think about it. It's going to be receiving yard overs. It's going to be passing attempts. It's going to be passing yards for both of these quarterbacks. Because Washington's defense allows 71.1% pass completion rate to opponents on the road. 3-game sample size in there, so we're seeing a little bit of a trend here. Dallas's defense not great against the pass either, giving up 71.8 pass completion rate to opponents this season. Teams put up 113 yards above their season average every time they go against the Dallas Cowboys. That's a bad defense here, folks. So yes, passing overs, a lot of airing it out. This is going to be a high-flying game, and I know there's people in the chat right now that are saying, they say Redskins money line, but Commanders money line. I would hesitate to that one because keep in mind, last 2 games in 2024, the line was Washington was a favorite of 10.5 and 6.5. Now you're seeing Dallas here as a small favorite, and Dallas has kind of owned this Washington team at least the last 5 meetings, 5-0 ATS, 4-1 straight up against them. And Dallas was, like I said, Dallas was a dog in the last 2. Now they're a favorite. Highest total of the year for both teams. Anything above 50, I will take all day long in the NFL. Give me the over and watch this high-flying game on Sunday. Let's go into the next game on the board. We got the Atlanta Falcons going against the San Francisco 49ers. This was a head scratcher for me. I mean, I feel like the stock is a little bit high on this Atlanta team, where you have a 49ers team lost 2 out of their last 3 games. Guys are starting to get healthy. Of course, injuries have been a problem with this team, but it seems like they're getting back to where they are, and I think we're going to see a little bit of it in this game. I don't have an official play on this one, but Coach, what do you think about this?
Yeah, San Francisco has so many injuries, and I know people are going to jump on the Falcons bandwagon after they beat the Bills, and their defense is great, and it is. But then ask yourself why are the Niners favored to win this game? The number tells you, and I'm not going to play it, but maybe I do get there. I don't know. We'll see. But the number tells you this is a San Francisco spot. I'll probably look and see like who's actually going to play. Because there are some guys that are questionable. They're saying that George Kittle's going to play. We'll see about that. So again, if you're leaning one way or the other, you got to look at San Francisco because the number is telling you to do that. I'll give you one other angle on this game, and that again is a kicking prop. San Francisco offense. I mean, they can score. They move the ball up and down the field. Best passing offense in the NFL, by the way. If anybody, if you didn't know. But Eddie Pinheiro, I think I mentioned this weeks ago, where the top 3 most accurate field goal kickers. Eddie Pinheiro's number 3. And San Francisco, another team that attempts a lot of field goals. They're tied with Tennessee for most attempts at 18. Pinheiro, all 5 games this year, kicked at least 2 field goals. I think he does it again today, over 1.5 for Eddie P. And then, if you like San Francisco, points, team total, if you like the over, you could take a look at Pinheiro's point total. That's at 7.5, which he's hit that 4 out of 5 times. So one different angle in that game that you could look at other than taking San Francisco straight up.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the San Francisco side. I just want to fade Atlanta on a short week going on the road, having to go to the West Coast. And everybody wants to weigh this Atlanta team like, oh, you beat the Bills. I'm going to give you a little bit of a hot take. I don't think the Bills are very good. I've watched them in the last few weeks. I don't think they're good at all. I think people are overvaluing that team. I think their defense is terrible. I think they can't stop the run. If anybody has a decent run game, I think anybody in the league can beat the Bills. So take that as it will, and maybe throw it in my face later if the Bills go on a hot streak. But I lean towards there's no other play on this one for me. I would take is San Francisco. But is this going to be on my card? Absolutely not, because I think the stock. I don't want to buy high stock in Atlanta, and knowing that Brock Purdy's not going to be playing in this game, Ricky Pearsall's out. They do get George Kittle's back. So they are getting a little bit healthier, but this is a game that really I skipped and I just moved on to bigger and better things that are on the board. Let's go into the next play. Of course, we got a good one here with Burnsy's Giants going against the Denver Broncos. Of course, the Giants are the hottest ticket on the planet with Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart, the dynamic duo of idiots. No, I'm just kidding. They're fun to watch. They're entertaining. I get it. But I think when you're going against this Denver team, Denver, of course, coming back from London on an ugly, ugly win over across the pond, but they're getting back to their comfort level, playing at Mile High, playing in their stadium. I have a take on this game, but I'll start with you, Coach. What do you think?
Yeah, this is Denver, 100%. Last week we were talking about what was it, Philly and the Giants, and I think I made the comment, don't let Jackson Dart beat you with your legs or with his legs. And of course, he went on to do that. He's rushed for over 50 yards in each of the games he started. Once again, I think Denver has to do that. Don't let him beat you with his legs, and I don't think they'll allow it. Justin Fields ran for 31 yards against Denver. I think that was the most. That was under his rushing total. Jalen Hurts had 3 yards rushing against Denver. Justin Herbert had 6. So the point, of course, is that Denver plays very good defense, and I don't think they will allow Jackson Dart to run around and make plays with his feet. The other thing is Sean Payton, just an outstanding coach, especially after his team hasn't played well. An interesting stat, when Peyton's team score 14 or fewer points, he comes back in the next game and they cover over 70% of the time. So I think this is a Denver spot all the way. Another angle you might look at this because it's Denver -7 or 7.5, depending on your sports book. Nix is 9-3 against the spread as a favorite, but when you play him in a 6-point teaser, he's 12-0. So a game that you could add to a 2-team teaser.
Yeah, I noticed the thing that stuck out with me in this game is the total. Total's very low. I mean, we're talking about 40.5 in this one. And you got this, there is extra rest here for the Giants. I get it, but they're coming off a huge divisional win, and they got to go play their divisional opponent next week. So it's a weird sandwich spot for them. They're 2-4 on the year. Keep that in mind. But everybody treats them like they're 6-0 after you watch what Cam Scatterbo's doing on the NFL Network. But you look at the Giants on the road. They just have not been good. -10 point differential, -57 net yard average in their 3 road games this season. They are bad as a road dog too. 6-12 run ATS. And then Denver, usually situationally plays good against non-conference opponents. They're 6-0 ATS last 6, date back to last year. 7-1 ATS is a home favorite, date back to last year as well. But I love that low total. I think if you like the Denver spot, you're going to love the low spot here for the total. And everybody goes, yes, Cam Scatterbo, Jackson Dart, they're scoring machines. It's a different element here, a different animal when you're dealing with this Denver defense. It's not the Philly defense, guys. It's the Denver defense. So I think what is going to be key in this game is you're going to have some schemes here where they're going to try to contain the 1-2 punch. Denver's defense is good enough to do that. I think it's going to be low scoring, and if there is going to be scoring, it's going to be more so on the Denver side than on the Giants side. Yep. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Giants fans. This is a bad spot for you. Sorry, Burnsy. Let's go to the next game, the last game before we close this out. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers going against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Coach's favorite quarterback. Do you like small quarterbacks? And Kyler Murray.
Midget.
I don't think he's playing in this game, or he's questionable, or something like that. I can't remember if he's officially out. But another tough spot. The Cardinals, I will say this, play well as a dog at home, but they're playing this Green Bay Packers team. I don't know about this one. I don't have a take, but I'll pass it to you, Coach. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it depends on who plays QB. If it's Jacoby Brissett, you have to take a look at Arizona's record without Kyler Murray, which is 4-15 straight up. And I think over the last 2 or 3 years, it's even worse. So, can you get behind Arizona here as a dog at home? I can't. I can't get behind Green Bay though. And really the magic number for Green Bay, maybe you live bet this, but you got to look and see if Green Bay is going to score because the magic number is 20. If the Green Bay Packers get to 20, you got a real good shot. They're just going to blow them out. But Jordan Love on the road, when the Packers don't score, when they're under 20, he's 0-6. So for me, it's, I'm not getting on this any way, shape, or form. But like I said, this might be a game where you could live bet.
Yeah, I think I hate that one. Looking at that 7 on the road, it open around like 5.5, 6.
Yeah.
But I just feel like this is everybody and their mother is going to be taking the Packers on this one, and I know probably a lot of people are going to put this as a survivor pick too, and I understand why. However, I guess they're saying here, H-Town's saying they've already got the Brissett props up, so
then he's
whether
playing.
or not he's going to be playing. I did see something that gave me the indication that they were pretty much on the higher side of sitting Murray today. So we'll have to see what happens there. But because of the quarterback situation and the unsurety of Murray playing, I didn't know what to do with this game. And the line's not really moving either way. So maybe it doesn't even matter who's going to be the quarterback here for the Cardinals today. But I just had to pass on this game completely. Didn't have any takes on this one. And maybe I could dig into the props a little bit. But maybe I just ignored this game. We don't have to bet every game, guys. We can just skip a few of these. But yeah, that does it here, folks. We have Sunday Night Football. Of course, we already talked about that one. Yes, we broke down the entire board. Make sure you check us out on all the social media platforms that we do. Why lose _Gunz? Why lose, Coach? What do you got going on at Why Lose today? Or the
today? Yep, today. Max bet will be up momentarily. $49 for our max bet plus the extra best bets that I make, probably 4 or 5 other plays. Last week I think we were Sunday I think it was a 6-1 day. So looking to do that again. $49 gets you the max bet plus best bets. If the max bet fails to cash, you get 1 month all my NFL picks for free. So it's a win-win.
Awesome. Yep. And I got my deals up now. My card is posted officially for VIPs. If you want to go sign up, I have the $75 elite package now. That comes with the backing, 5 units or more. I got to make you in that week. If that doesn't happen, you get my entire month of free. That is college football and NFL. Also, max bet today. Already loaded up. 8-2 run in both sports, NFL and college. Missed our 5-dimer yesterday. So guess what? I'm due for a win. I'm going to hit this one today for you boys. And also, just check out, I did promise people on the lives, I will have a moneyline parlay for you today for the Guncycles just to enjoy on this beautiful football Saturday. But that closes us out here for Player Performance. I am Gunz Picks. That is Coach Rick. Let's cash some tickets. Let's dominate the board. And as always, Coach,
giddy up.
Hey, let's keep dancing. Bye.
Cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort.